Now, U.S. stock futures point to losses today, with oil stocks set to be in focus as the oil industry and investors try to gauge the extent of damage at energy facilities after then Hurricane Harvey slammed into Texas. Futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.08%, and S&P 500 futures shed 0.03% to 2,441.41. Nasdaq 100 futures lost 0.06% at 5,822.5. In Asia-Pacific, equity markets struggled to find direction after U.S. and European central bankers declined to provide fresh policy guidance, although China-related stocks outperformed on strong corporate earnings. The Nikkei stock average closed flat, constrained by a stronger yen. Australia's S&P ASX 200 declined 0.6%. Stocks in China were higher, however, with the Shanghai Composite Index rising 0.9%, and that was driven by gains in banking stocks and expectations of solid first-half earnings. In Hong Kong, the benchmark Hang Seng Index surrendered most of the earlier gains to finish just 15 points higher at 27,863. Gasoline surged to the highest in 2 years, and oil eased as flooding from Tropical Storm Harvey inundated refining centers along the Texas coast, shutting more than 10% of U.S. fuel-making capacity. Motor fuel prices rose as much as 6.8%, while oil slipped from near $48 a barrel. Harvey, which is the strongest storm to hit the U.S. since 2004, made landfall as a hurricane on Friday, flooding cities and shutting plants able to process some 2.26 million barrels of oil a day. Pipelines were closed, potentially stranding some crude in West Texas and starving New York harbor of gasoline. The gasoline for September delivery climbed as much as 11.3 cents to $1.77 a gallon on the New York Mercantile Exchange, with the highest intraday price for a front-month contract since July 2015. And the global oil markets are war today after Hurricane Harvey wreaked havoc along the U.S. Gulf Coast over the weekend, knocking out numerous refineries and some crude production. Brent futures were pushed up by pipeline blockades in Libya, but U.S. crude futures eased as the U.S. refinery shutdowns could reduce demand for American crude. Harvey came ashore over the weekend as the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in more than 50 years. Texas is home to 5.6 million barrels of refining capacity per day, and Louisiana has 3.3 million barrels. Over 2 million barrels per day of refining capacity were estimated to be offline as a result of the storm. U.S. oil futures were at $47.70 a barrel, while Brent crude was stronger at $52.58 per barrel. In the meantime, 2 oil fields in Libya are closed after an armed group took over pipelines to build deposits, disrupting the OPEC nations' plan to boost crude production. Elephant and the Hamada oil fields will gradually stop pumping today following the declaration of the force majeure. Libya resumed oil production and exports before the latest disruptions, boosting supplies to a 4-year high, with exports rising to the highest in 3 years. While the expansion has helped Libya's oil-dependent economy, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries is trying to cut global supplies. Libya's biggest field, Sharara, has been shut for about a week after. Now let's get a better sense of all these stories from the global oil market and to discuss this with me is the head of energy research at Ecobank Nigeria, Dolapo Onyu. Thanks for coming on the program, Dolapo.
Thanks for having me as well.
Now let's begin with the impact of Hurricane Harvey knocking out numerous refineries and some crude production in Texas. How is this going to affect the crude oil market in the coming days?
Okay, the key thing is to recognize this. Houston, or the particular area that this hurricane is to the U.S., what Niger Delta is to Nigeria. It's the region where you have the bulk of oil production happening. You also have the bulk of America's refining capacity, about a third of America's refining capacity, and roughly about 20% of America's oil production. So it's quite significant. In terms of figures that we have seen already, we believe that about 2 million barrels per day of refining capacity is already offline. It could be more by the end of the day when we have more data. But more importantly, what we really worry about is the fact that a lot of demand has been affected. More importantly, also, and also too, a lot of supply has also been affected because you have fields that have been shut down, because you have massive flooding, you have a lot of pipelines that are clogged, so you have to shut down the field. So clearly, a lot of production is already affected, a lot of refining is affected. So in America, it's a bit of a basket case. It's both sides that are affected, both the demand and the supply side. So for American oil, which is usually benchmarked by the WTI, we're likely to see prices continue to trend downward. But what we are seeing instead globally is that instead is that Brent is also starting to rise up, because then again, you have to recognize the fact that this is a lot of light oil that is leaving the market, and Brent is the benchmark for light crude oil.
Another major issue that has hit the market is that of Libya shutting 2 more oil fields following the takeover of pipelines by an armed group. What does this mean for total oil market supply and production output?
Exactly. So clearly, I mean, what's happening now is that Libya is like losing close to another 400,000 barrels per day, and that's quite significant because they've shut down 3 fields: El Fil, Amadou, and Sharara, and those 3 fields, I mean, contribute close to about 500,000 barrels per day. Over the last 3 months, Libya has added over 400,000 to its production. It rose from about 650, currently they were pushing 1.1 million barrels per day before this shutdown started happening. So clearly, that's another large amount of oil that has left the market, in addition to the American oil production that has also ceased. Although the bulk of the American production is consumed within America, so that's going to affect the American market more. But this Libya adds a different dimension, adds a more impact to the supply side of what's affecting the market. So a lot of light oil, again, a lot of light oil is leaving the market. The market is right now dominated by a lot of light oil, and that's why we've seen Brent trending downwards and refusing to really rise. But with all this light oil that's leaving the market, shale oil in America, Libyan oil, which is mostly light, we're going to start to see that there's going to be a lot of demand for the categories that are in the market that are light as well too. And that's what we see pushing Brent prices a little bit upward currently.
Head of Energy Research at EcoBank Nigeria, Dolapo Oni, thanks for your time. Business Incorporated returns in just a moment. Please stay with us.